Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where we don't just chase speed, we chase the stories behind the machines. And this time, we're climbing altitude into a geopolitical tailspin that's shaking the foundations of commercial aviation. In May 2025, Boeing found itself bracing for impact, not from a mechanical fault, but from fallout sparked by tariffs and political tension. Ryanair, Europe's low-cost giant, sounded the alarm. If Washington's 25% tariffs make planes too pricey, their $30 billion Boeing order could be history. What followed wasn't just a warning, it was a ripple effect threatening to upend global airline supply chains, alliances, and trust in America's biggest aircraft exporter. Let's break down what's unfolding in the sky. Ryanair's $30 billion warning shot. On May 1st, Ryanair threw down a high-stakes marker. CEO Michael O'Leary made it clear, if the US doesn't ease its tariffs on aircraft parts, their $30 billion commitment to Boeing's 737 MAX jets could be in jeopardy. No cancellations yet, but the threat looms large. This wasn't just about inflated invoices. O'Leary suggested the airline could explore other manufacturers, even naming China's COMAC and its C919 jet as a possible alternative. That's significant. Ryanair has been a Boeing loyalist, and considering a pivot to COMAC marks a shift with serious implications. With Airbus production lines fully booked into the next decade and COMAC lacking European certification, the reality is that options are slim. But the fact that Ryanair is even floating such alternatives sends a clear message. Trade wars have consequences, and even long-standing commercial partnerships have breaking points. And Ryanair wasn't alone in its alarm. Their stance became the spark that lit a fire across the entire airline industry. Global airlines feel the aftershock. Ryanair's public stance cracked open a pressure valve. Airlines across Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East began voicing concerns of their own. A Turkish airline requested a pricing review. A South American carrier hit pause on payments. An African national airline froze its Boeing negotiations altogether, citing volatile U.S. economic conditions. This isn't mere posturing, it's survival mode. Most airlines operate with thin margins, carefully balancing fuel, labor, and financing. If Ryanair, a master of cost control, says tariffs make the deal unworkable, smaller carriers have even less wiggle room. Compounding the problem, there's nowhere else to turn. Airbus is at capacity, and although COMAC's C919 isn't yet widely certified or proven, the buzz alone is reshaping perception. A once-dismissed third player is now in the conversation, not because of innovation, but because of desperation. The confidence Boeing spent decades building is now wobbling. And in aviation, uncertainty spreads faster than a tailwind. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. It helps us reach more aviation buffs and auto enthusiasts like you. Now let's throttle forward and take a look under Boeing's manufacturing hood. Boeing's supply chain caught in a crossfire. While Ryanair's headline-grabbing comments dominated news cycles, Boeing was fighting another battle. Its supply chain was beginning to buckle under the weight of tariffs. Aerospace manufacturing isn't modular. It's precision-built and globally sourced. And with a 25% tariff wall now in place, that ecosystem is under threat. In Canada, landing gear suppliers pulled back. In Germany and Japan, avionics and electronic component firms paused shipments amid regulatory confusion. Stateside, Boeing's Charleston and Wichita plants began stockpiling materials and identifying alternative domestic suppliers, many of which either didn't meet specifications or came at a steep premium. Then came a retaliatory blow from China. Restrictions on exporting rare earth materials essential to jet engines and flight control systems. That choke point slowed production, escalated costs, and introduced delays Boeing could ill afford. Airbus, with more diversified sourcing and proactive inventory management, escaped the worst of it. That contrast didn't go unnoticed by customers wondering whether Boeing could still deliver on time, or at all. The manufacturing strain was bad enough, but political backlash from across the Atlantic was about to make things even worse. Tariff retaliation turns political and painful. The shock waves from America's tariff strikes didn't stop at Boeing's hangar doors. They bounced straight back from Brussels. In a bold countermeasure, the European Union took direct aim at civil aircraft, targeting Boeing jets for retaliatory tariffs. This marked a significant policy shift. Commercial planes had traditionally been considered too vital for tit-for-tat penalties. Not anymore. The European Commission threatened up to $100 billion in tariffs on U.S. exports, including aerospace. If no deal is reached, Boeing could face a staggering 25% EU tariff on every aircraft sold to European carriers. Internally, Boeing estimated that could add $3 million in penalties per jet. Multiply that by a standard 100-plane contract, and you're staring down a $300 million hit. Now European airlines are caught in a bind. Do they eat the cost? Do they push Boeing for discounts? Or do they shelve deliveries altogether? Lufthansa is already mulling over delayed wide-body orders, and Delta, sensing the volatility, froze its 2026 procurement calendar without fanfare. Back in Washington, Boeing's lobbying effort to secure tariff exemptions fell short. A Senate bill offering relief for aerospace failed to clear a narrow vote. The White House didn't back down. Instead, it threatened even harsher tariffs if Congress interfered. And the fallout was immediate. A wing assembly plant in Texas slashed 100 jobs. A Missouri alloy supplier suspended entire shifts. Boeing wasn't the only one bleeding. Its entire US-based supply chain started to feel the squeeze. As Boeing absorbed hits from every side, a new player was quietly preparing to take flight. COMAC's rise and a new world order in aviation. While Boeing scrambled, China's COMAC was quietly climbing altitude. Long dismissed as a regional player, the C919 aircraft is now appearing on the radar of global carriers seeking alternatives to the Boeing-Airbus duopoly. Ryanair's CEO didn't mince words. In his letter to U.S. lawmakers, he stated flatly, if COMAC's C919 came in 10 to 20% cheaper than Airbus, Ryanair would of course consider it. That wasn't just a hypothetical, it was a signal flare. Although the C919 still lacks European certification and falls short in certain categories compared to Boeing's MAX lineup, COMAC has racked up over 1,000 orders, mainly from Chinese airlines. But now, thanks to geopolitical headwinds and limited supply from the legacy duopoly, global interest is shifting. Analysts at Barclays predict that this trade war could be COMAC's golden ticket to the global stage. If even one Western airline takes delivery, it could legitimize COMAC as a serious player, politically and commercially. Of course, it's not all clear skies. The C919 depends heavily on American-made parts, many of which fall under export restrictions. Security concerns also loom large. But with growing pressure on Western airlines to diversify, COMAC's entry feels more like a matter of when, not if. Verdict: Boeing at a crossroads, holding pattern or descent. Boeing isn't battling just economic forces, it's fighting for its identity. A $30 billion threat from Ryanair was the ignition. Global airline pushback, supply chain fractures, EU retaliation, and COMAC's looming presence turned it into a full-blown crisis. This is more than a corporate headache. It's a turning point for American industrial leadership. Boeing now faces a simple but critical choice: adapt or be outpaced. So now we turn the mic over to you. Do you think Boeing can pivot fast enough to secure its global footing again? Should airlines seriously consider COMAC? Or is it still too risky? And with political tensions rewriting the rules of trade, is US manufacturing entering a new era of vulnerability? Drop your thoughts, questions, or even rants in the comments. We want to hear your take. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to Piston Pundit for more industry breakdowns, vehicle updates, and deep dives into the mechanics of the modern world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.